Okay, so if I were to ask you where the Rock of Gibraltar is, what would your answer be? Now, of course, I'm asking because of the Mandela Effect, which I'm sure most of you have already heard about. If you haven't, then don't feel bad. I'll leave a couple links in the description where you can go find out all about it and have your mind blown.
Hello and welcome everyone to the lost island of Gibraltar. The reason why I'm making this video is because I believe I have enough evidence to suggest that yes, Gibraltar was an island in another reality. I have gathered enough people's memories and a whole load of tweets I found on Twitter to suggest that yes, Gibraltar was an island in another reality. So if you have that memory, just know you are not alone. Before I go ahead and read this comment by a Reddit user, on the right, we're going to take a look here at the left of this new world map that we are in right now. This is the new Mediterranean Sea. Now, a lot of people remember Gibraltar being an island located in between Spain and Morocco. And this whole northern western part of Africa is new. The Mediterranean Sea opening from the Atlantic was much wider than this. But we can take a look at where this narrow passageway, it's unbelievable how small this passageway is. And we can see that Strait of Gibraltar, there's no island there, and now Gibraltar is actually a landmass just bordering Spain. So it's no longer an island in this reality. This is Gibraltar right here. This is the people remember this being an island in the middle of the strait. And now it's actually connected to land, and the only way to get to Gibraltar is through the airport's roadway, which is unbelievable. This is the airport, and the only way to get into to Gibraltar, which is over here to the south, is through this little road, and the road crosses right through the landing strip, which is unbelievable. And this is the rock, and we'll learn more about the rock. But we're going to go ahead and read this post posted by Cameron Donald a day ago. The title is "Gibraltar is no longer an island. Many people, including myself, remember Gibraltar being an island near Spain and British overseas territory. I myself never knew exactly where it was, but I knew it was an island. Many people say it was situated pretty much in between Spain and Morocco, where the Gibraltar Straits is. But it is now not an island, and it is literally just part of Spain at its most southern tip on the eastern side, which makes no sense because how can Britain just claim a part of Spain? It would make sense if it was an island, like all other British territories. Also, why is that part of the ocean called Gibraltar Straits if Gibraltar is not even the closest part of Spain to it? It is still pretty close, but many people said it used to be right where the Gibraltar Straits is. I have read a few stories of people visiting Gibraltar and swearing they took the ferry to it because it is an island. Also, there is monkeys that are native to Gibraltar, but if Gibraltar is just part of Spain, how are the monkeys not in other parts of Spain? It also even looks like an island and looks like it just shouldn't be part of Spain. I highly suggest you look it up on Google Earth. I'd love to hear you guys' opinions on this. Thanks. So obviously there's two parts of this reality here. There's going to be people saying that, yeah, it's always been part of Spain, and no, it's never been an island. And there are tons of people that remember this being an island, Gibraltar. This user writes, you probably heard of the Rock of Gibraltar and assumed the whole place is an island. I thought the same until I traveled to Spain. This user writes, the Isle of Gibraltar was between Morocco and Spain with miles of water to the north and south. You couldn't mistake it because it was a massive rock sticking out of the straits. There was no airport, no banks, and no casinos. He continues to write, the Strait of Gibraltar and Gibraltar itself was formed by two separate meteor impacts 20 and 10 million years ago. Many a Navy sailor will testify to the fact that it was an island. This user writes, "I'm not going to lie, this just blew my mind." We can continue to YouTube, and I found this video here. We can take a look at it real quick. It says, "I remember the Rock of Gibraltar being in the middle of the strait between Spain and Morocco. Today, it's in Spain towards the east edge." We can go to Facebook. I found this on Facebook. "Gibraltar has moved east. It used to be in the Strait of Gibraltar. Not anymore. It used to be a strategic buffer in the Second World War between Europe and Africa, and also guarding the entrance to the Mediterranean Sea." Here, this is a comment left on MandelaEffect.com of people writing their memories, and in this sentence he says, Mark says, this was posted on November 2015. Mark says, "Gibraltar was south of Spain and was the closest area to Morocco. A logical reason to name the strait between Spain and Morocco Gibraltar Strait." Here's another one by Mary. She wrote, "The Rock of Gibraltar is no longer between Spain and Morocco." I found these two videos on YouTube that are titled Gibraltar Island. This one here. A whole bunch of pictures in the video. And here's another one that's titled Gibraltar Part 1, Bus Tour Around the Island. But the crazy part is that if you watch this video, you know, the bus tour guide will say it's a peninsula, but the title of it is island. And so this is the craziest part, right? There, supposedly, Gibraltar is hosting the 2019 Island Games. We can see here that we can read here, "The Island Games, currently known as the NatWest Island Games for sponsorship reasons, are international multi-sports event organized by International Island Games Association. Competitor teams each represent different island communities, with one team from the peninsula of Gibraltar." So this is supposed to be a game for islands, and the only exception is Gibraltar. And it even states right here it's a peninsula. So how is a peninsula you know, even able to associate themselves to a island game or compete in an island game? That doesn't even make sense. We can scroll down and see which of the islands participated in this island games, and we can see here that, you know, on the left it says island, and if we scroll down we can see Gibraltar is listed as an island, which is pretty insane. British Overseas Territories, it's not even an island, and it's participating in the island. A total, it says here participation, a total of 27 islands have participated in the island games, of which 11 islands have participated in every island games. But it says here, you know, it says Gibraltar is not even an island. So this is a really good find. This is definitely a Mandela effect. We can see here that the 2019 Island Games will be held in British Overseas Territory of Gibraltar between the 6th and 12th of July 2019. This will be the second time that the nation has hosted the games, the first being in 1995. So it's hosting the Island Games when it's not even an island, which is pretty absurd, which is really weird. And I believe this is a 100% Mandela effect, and a lot of people have these memories. Before I show you guys these tweets that I found on Twitter, I found a whole load of Twitter that tweets that, you know, give proof that this was an island in a different reality, and it's no longer an island. And before we do that, I'm actually going to show you guys two videos of two YouTube users. Their names are give me one second. Their names are John Boyle and Truth About on YouTube. I'm going to go ahead and show you guys their testimony on their YouTube videos before we take a look at the tweets. So stay tuned for the tweets. And welcome to the Lost Island of Gibraltar. I really want to visit this place now. It's going to be amazing to just visit this place and say, wow, it's you know, this used to be an island in a different reality, and you can go there now. It's never been an island. It's just like my other Mandela effect for my other longtime subscribers. I remember Costa Rica being an island, and in this reality, it has never been an island, and it's always been part of Central America. I've made a few videos that I've deleted, and I'm gonna bring that back. I'm gonna make another series of the lost island of Costa Rica. I'm also planning on doing a documentary and visiting Costa Rica now, and taking people's memories and gathering them to make a documentary. So yeah, with that said, welcome to the lost island of Gibraltar, and I hope you guys enjoyed. Talk to you later.
And this morning I was reminded of a geographic change that occurred in my reality. And one of the major changes for me is the position of the Rock of Gibraltar, which is a change that many people have noticed. I've seen on YouTube. It's one of the changes that solidify for me this understanding that we have moved to a new Earth. And on this new Earth, for me, there are a couple of changes in geography that I notice, but the most profound one is the position of the Rock of Gibraltar. And in my memory, Gibraltar sat between the coast of Spain and the coast of Morocco, somewhere just about halfway in the middle, and a little out facing the Atlantic Ocean, at the opening of the Mediterranean. And the rock face presented itself very dramatically to the Atlantic Ocean. And my entire life, that has been a point of pride for me. I would always tell people, well, you know, I've seen the Rock of Gibraltar, and if there was a map, I'd point to it, and everybody knew. I have friends that I haven't spoken to in years, but people I had worked with years ago who were married on the Rock of Gibraltar. They took the ferry from Spain and went to the Rock of Gibraltar, and were married there. It was a place people went to. Well, I come to find out that the Rock of Gibraltar, it's not there. It's not there.
Looking at all these things on geography and the Mandela Effect, in a couple of little instances I came across people mentioning the Rock of Gibraltar, right? And then somebody, and if you had asked me, okay, like where the Rock of Gibraltar is, okay, in relation to Spain and Morocco, I would have told you quite adamantly that it is an island in between Spain and Morocco, and then you had to take a ferry to get to Gibraltar, and it was, you know, right in the middle, and then it was in the middle of the Straits of Gibraltar, Straits plural, okay? You go and look it up now, and it is not an island, and it is the Strait of Gibraltar, and the Rock of Gibraltar is apparently attached to the mainland of Spain via a peninsula, okay? And yeah, you can just drive there. And okay, when I heard about this yesterday, it really wigged me out. So I guess part of why I'm doing this video is just, you know, because there doesn't seem to be a ton written about this. I mean, everything I kind of found about it was like in forums and comments and stuff, so there wasn't really anything specifically talking about this example as a Mandela effect. But there are a few people that obviously already were like remembering it being in between Morocco and Spain too. And if that is you as well, I'd love to hear from you, just so that, yeah, I know, because, you know, if I'm wrong and I'm just remembering it wrong and that it's that simple, then that's fine. You know, no skin off my nose. There's lots of things I don't know or I remember correctly or learned incorrectly. I've never been to the Rock of Gibraltar, but it's interesting because okay, one of the things that I instantly started thinking of was, okay, I'm kind of a nerd, I guess, and you know, I've always wanted to go see more of Europe. I've been there briefly, but I've always wanted to, you know, travel all over Europe, right? So there's a show called Rick Steves Europe. Many of you probably heard of it. So I love watching Rick Steves Europe. I used to watch it all the time. I've seen most of the episodes like multiple times, right? And I knew that in one episode, Rick Steves goes to the Rock of Gibraltar, and I remembered it very specifically. And I'm like, I'm pretty sure he takes a ferry to the Rock of Gibraltar, right? So I actually go online and find this episode of Rick Steves going to the Rock of Gibraltar. And sure enough, there is just attached to the mainland. And it's not an island. There's a little town of Gibraltar that's on a little flat piece at the base of the rock, piece of land. And this is basically the peninsula now. What I would have thought, which I vividly remember being just, sort of like a flat piece at the bottom, like in the island. And you would take a ferry to the town at the base, but it was not connected. And what was even crazier is that apparently going across this peninsula is an airstrip, right? There's a runway where pretty large passenger airlines can take off and land, and then the road to get for car traffic to go across the peninsula to drive to the Rock of Gibraltar actually crosses the runway. So you have to stop and wait for, make sure there's no planes coming and going before you drive across it. And I'm watching that part, and I'm going, I do not remember this at all. And maybe I just maybe I just missed that part of the episode, right? But I was like, this is, that's a very unique little thing, and I was just kind of weird that I would just hard to imagine that I would just forget that completely, because I've like I said, I've watched these episodes before, and when you've seen an episode once and then you watch it again, it's, even if you couldn't recall it like by memory, when you sit there and watch it again, it all becomes familiar, and you're like, yeah, I remember this castle, and I remember whatever. Did not remember this at all. It was just bizarre. And then he gets to the point where he's actually on the Rock of Gibraltar, and he's feeding all the monkeys and stuff, and I'm like, okay, well, that part was familiar, right? I remember all the monkeys. If you know anything about the Rock of Gibraltar, you know about all the monkeys that harass all the tourists. And this is what is crazy to me, because okay, if this Rock of Gibraltar is really if it's more than just like me and two other people who remember it this way, and this really is perhaps another Mandela Effect crazy thing, this would be really crazy, because we're not just talking about something that is, an example such as, well, I remember this continent being, more oriented this way rather than that way, or the borders and the shape, we're talking about the difference between an island and a peninsula. Those are very qualitatively different things. So to get that wrong, to remember that wrong, is like huge. How would I learn? How would my brain? How for all these years? And I am the kind of person that tends to think that I'm pretty good at geography. And if I don't know, I don't know. But if I do know it, I usually think I'm pretty good. I'm a very visual person, and I remember maps. I remember, when I learn something by looking at a map, that's how it sticks in my brain, because it's a visual drawing. I'm a visual learner for sure. So yeah, this one just blew me away. Like I was so, remembering something very different. And this is, it's one thing to be like talking about, like Jesse Spots mentions the Staten Island in New York, and some people that are swearing that there was never all these bridges connecting to Staten Island, and there was only the ferry. And I don't know nothing about that, to where I've never been to New York, never wanted to go to New York, so that would be crazy too. But even if that was, if there was a large number of people insisting that all these bridges like weren't there, and then now they are, they were only built within this last century. The Rock of Gibraltar, we're talking about something that goes back into way back into ancient history, ancient Greece and antiquity, and so yeah, to think about this is an example of Mandela Effect and changing all of the records and everything would be just stupid weird. So I'm almost begging people to just prove me wrong and tell me that no, it was always a peninsula, it was always attached to the southern part of Spain, and that you just got it horribly wrong, and And that's fine, you know. I won't lose any sleep over it if I just learn this totally wrong. But I'm throwing it out there because, yeah, it's very strange. Anyways, all right. So let me know what you guys remember and what you think, and we'll kind of see where this goes.